We're live.
Woohoo! Welcome. This is MindScape 717. We are just actually recapping one of our podcasts that we did. Well, actually, two of our podcasts that we did. We did a part 1 and a part 2. Our whole podcast is based on mental health and culture. So this one was about grounding techniques associated with anxiety. And although anxiety is not a word that is seen or even known in many different cultures, anxiety is still a cultural and worldwide phenomenon. I had trouble with that word earlier, so we're doing that. So that's why we thought we'd come on here just to recap and to kind of say, go see or go view the podcast. It's on TikTok, Insta, it's on Facebook. There's a group called MindScape 717. Hey, just come visit us. We are here to show you different ways that that we can help different cultures across the globe, not just with Western perspective types of techniques and tools and things like that, but just different methods that can help you in your home, in your time, in your way, in your culture, with total respect and safety in mind. So that's kind of what our whole premise is about. These two, part 1 and part 2, or episodes 7 and 8, were mainly about, the first one was about what anxiety looks like worldwide on a global basis, even if we don't have the words for it. And you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, obviously anxiety is one of the things across all cultures and everyone and everything. It could look very different, but as far as like how we look at it in the world of mental health, it is a compilation of like 7 criteria, 7 symptoms that we take into consideration. And then we think about how are all of these things, including sleep disturbances, irritability, aggression, ruminating thoughts, how is that impacting our functionality? A lot of the times we have to see, can we say I'm anxious and not have anxiety? I think we can. It's just a lot of the times it's very different for people and it looks very different. So in the world of mental health, we have to take into consideration, what is it really impacting us? How is it taking away our functionality in that moment? It's social, occupational, relational, and it just impacts us in so many different ways. And it, from head to toe, it can cause an array of symptoms, from a headache and or migraine to your hair falling out, to you flush in the face, to tingling extremities and feel like you're literally going to pass out. You get dizzy, your chest is about to beat out straight out of your heart is about to beat out straight out of your chest. Those are the things that we really look at to identify, right, what level of anxiety are we at. And again, the 7 criteria that we ask as a therapist, that we ask to identify what's really going on, right? Because we all have anxiety, good, bad, and then really bad, that drives you to a therapist that goes to the levels of panic attacks. And that's like a whole disorder in and of itself. So trying to identify what that looks like is very important for us to kind of just get a foundation, and then we can work through there, because there's so many things, right? There's just so many things that could happen as far as physical and mental health are one of the same. So that's just something that we were sharing. And again, I mean, I could talk about it till I'm blue in the face. That's just what I do every day. And providing the psychoeducation behind anxiety is so important, because people really do not understand that it gets as bad as a panic attack, because that will drive you to the ER and that will feel like you're about to have a heart attack. And then they're going to be like, no, actually, you're fine. Your heart's fine. You have anxiety. Now you got to go see a therapist and possibly get on anti-anxiety meds, because your body is completely over the edge and overwhelmed with anxiety.
And a lot of people don't believe in taking medications. And some people actually believe that taking medication is the one-stop shop. If I take this medication, then it will all go away and it will be, fine. In both cases, remember that, everything happens in moderation. So if you do take the medication, good on you. But please also do the therapy associated with it, or go online and look at YouTube videos or whatever you can to get that therapy for yourself.
We're here.
Yep. Exactly.
If you don't want to go to
Exactly.
me officially, look at these videos, join us in these conversations. And I know Leslie mentioned we are all over social media. We're always posting, and we just want to have these conversations on a more like interactive way. If you need to know something and you want to kind of start somewhere, this is why we're here. By no means, and again, this is probably going to be really probably counterintuitive as a therapist, but if you don't want to go to therapy, don't go.
Yeah. Exactly.
Don't do it. Don't waste my time and your time, because I tell my clients,
culturally, going to see somebody to talk about this stuff, some cultures are an absolute no to that, and that's fine. It is fine. I'm validating that it is absolutely fine. There are different ways that you can get help or seek help or learn or educate yourself, to do things for yourself. And we were talking about education on psychoeducation. And that's what we're trying to do. I mean, that's our major thing, right? Is psychoeducation, especially with different cultures. And the reason we brought up anxiety this time was for two reasons. One, to give grounding techniques to help with the anxiety, but two, just to kind of describe what anxiety looks like across the world. Because here in the United States, a lot of people can say, oh, I have anxiety. It's, and they kind of sweep it aside as, oh, it's just this.
Right.
And anxiety can look different in so many different ways. And there's some Asian cultures where people will just go quiet and shut down. Some people get hives, some people get headaches, some people, start gesturing. Some people get the jitters, the shivers, the shaking. Some people will get really, really loud. Some people have eye tics. Some people have, their legs get restless. Some people have GI issues, or where they're starting to feel nauseous, or they can't eat, or they overeat. And some people completely shut down. And when I say shut down, I mean they can't work, they can't function. They're just too overwhelmed with what is actually anxiety. And there's no real term for that in different cultures. So we're trying to actually just say, hey, let's just be self-aware enough to know what it is you're experiencing, validate it to yourself. And although you may not be able to talk about it with your culture or with your friends or with your family, you can talk about it here. Or you can listen and find out what some things that you can do for yourself to help yourself move forward. And so one of the things that we talked about in part 2 was a grounding technique. And when we say grounding technique, you want to talk about grounding techniques?
Yes. Sorry, I am posting so that we get people to join us. So grounding techniques, first and foremost, I think this is probably the best way to go about it if we are not comfortable with going to see one of me, a therapist. And if you want to find a way to help your central nervous system and kind of just get your breath together. A lot of the times with anxiety, amongst other things, obviously, that Leslie was talking about, it's very easy to breathe very shallow. We feel like something's on our chest and we feel like we can't find our breath. So trying to figure out how to get our breath back and take those deep breaths and send that oxygen right up to the brain, send it into the central nervous system, and just give us that like whoosh of like, all right, we're okay, we're fine, we're safe. A grounding technique that we talked about was tapping. And again, very many different ways to do this, very many different techniques. But this is something that we mentioned because it could be as simple as, like we talked, the butterfly taps. Like you just literally put your hands on your chest and you just go from you tap one hand to the other and just kind of try to stay as close to a rhythm so that you can kind of just literally tap in. And then as you're tapping, you're kind of just reassessing your environment. You're taking a really deep breath and you're holding it, and you're letting it go. And doing that just over and over. And it does take practice. It's not going to be perfect. And sometimes it feels a little weird. If that feels too weird, then put your hand next to your thighs and then you just tap your thighs. If you're sitting down and you kind of get restless and you start moving, tap your thighs. Just sit, make sure your feet are flat on the ground, because that's another thing too. Like, you just have to make sure you're very aware of your feet and put them straight on the ground.
Everything's done with intention.
Everything is done with intention. So place your feet. If you can take your shoes off and put them straight on the floor, do whatever you can do. A lot of the times we do talk about go outside, put your feet in the grass, put your feet in the dirt, put your feet down on the ground, and take a really deep breath. And then if you need to tap, wherever that is. You can hug yourself, do it on your arms, do it on your chest, do it on your legs.
Like if you're in a different culture, right, and you're in a business meeting, obviously, you have decorum and etiquette that you have to follow. But it's not too much to say you can just kind of cross your arms like this and do something like this to your arm, or even do it on your leg underneath the table, so that other people can't really see what you're doing, so that it's intentional at the same time. It's personal. It's for you.
Again, we are adults. You can say, excuse me, I gotta use the restroom. Get your ass in the bathroom. Get your ass in the bathroom and do some tapping, do some breathing. Get yourself together, because this is what anxiety loves to do. It loves to create this perfect storm in a cup of water. And if we just sit in it, it's going to create a bigger storm for us. So I think what it comes down to is, how do you assess your environment to make sure you are safe? Safety is everything to our body and to our brain. And if we don't feel safe, obviously something is off. So why not go to the bathroom? Excuse yourself, put some cold water, because anything cold shocks your system. It can kind of bring you back to the present. Put your hands under cold water, kind of put it in your face. Go to the bathroom, tap, open up the space for yourself to where you can just take that really big breath. Take it in and you hold it and you just let it go. And then that way you can definitely just be mindful of what you're doing. You're not as sneaky as me. I saw you.
I know. She's so sneaky. She takes all these crazy pictures and I don't even know it. And she posts it. So I just try to do the same, but I'm not sneaky.
Not sneaky. It's a good try though. It's a good try. But yeah. So I digress. But yes, so that's something super important. It's just get your breathing, right? Like, let's focus. Again, Google breathing techniques, Google tapping. If you want to ask us directly, post it on our, whatever you need from us, we're willing to
look us up
share
on
it.
TikTok, which is MindScape 717, on Instagram, MindScape 717. On Instagram, I just posted a picture on where certain places you can tap that. All of them have been effective, like research-wise, and this is a global thing. This is not just Western perspective, which is why we're bringing it up. So many places, like Koreans, have done this study and have found that it is very effective. And sometimes, like people who are into chakras, for example, find tapping to be more effective than anything else. Like, find your chakras, whatever.
Because this is a big one in tapping.
Yeah. And so it has been proven effective to reduce anxiety or reduce stress or reduce whatever feelings you are having. And in the podcast, we were discussing how some people just wake up on the wrong side of the bed because there's really no word for anxiety. Or they've had bad dreams all night long, or they can't sleep. This type of thing. And when that happens, you have to become self-aware enough to realize what the root cause is. It could be that you have a major business proposal that you're giving. It could be that you have this presentation that you have to give. It could be anything, to be honest with you. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or you're irritable, or you start getting hives, or you start getting red in the face, these are indicative of some anxiety.
Oh, absolutely.
And grounding yourself in the present by using tapping with intention and reminding yourself that you are here, you are safe, you are okay, can reduce your stress levels, your irritability levels, any physical issues that you're feeling, the nausea, that type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as you do it with intention.
Yeah.
And in the podcast, Tanya even said, so use it with affirmations. Like affirmations meaning like, I'm safe, I'm here, it's okay. That
and
type of thing.
I accept myself. This is the one that I use a lot with. This, I accept myself, I love myself. I've used it a lot with the complex PTSD clients, because a lot of that love is lost for ourselves. And kind of going back to a post that Leslie posted about self-compassion, all of this is very intertwined, and this is all of the things that we lose, not only with trauma but with anxiety. We forget to validate, we forget to accept ourselves in the grossest parts of everything that we're doing, because it really could be we're just trying to anticipate, but ain't nobody got that ability to see that far in the future. Can you try to mitigate as many factors? Absolutely, but even that is unpredictable within itself. So trying to have your body literally slow down, because if you don't know, it's okay. It's okay you don't know. And if you don't want to go to a therapist because you don't think it's big enough for a therapist, then write it out. What is that thought that is stuck in your brain and will not fucking leave you alone? Write it out. This is the thought. What am I concerned about? And if you need to walk it out that way, work backwards. What's the problem? What are you trying to solve that you can't find a solution for?
Exactly. And there's also just the thought that, okay, so in America, in the United States, it's a very individualistic society. So we're always thinking about ourselves and how we're trying to, define ourselves, whether it be in the home or in the office or, whatever.
Right.
But many societies are collectivistic, family oriented, and the hierarchy is there. And even that with anxiety, sometimes you can't talk to your family about the anxiety because there is this hierarchy, and the elders don't feel that this is a something to discuss. It's something to like sweep under the rug. And that's okay. That's your culture. That's, what you live every day. But there's nothing that says that you can't start traditions with your whole family with tapping. I've actually seen that happen. I've also seen it happen. I think I said it in the podcast too, where there was a group therapy session that I was sitting in on, and it was with wounded warriors, and they all thought that tapping sounded stupid. But I'm just gonna like say it does sound stupid. So like that can't be real. But afterwards, after they were guided by a trained therapist to do the tapping, they all said that they loved it, that they felt so much better, that it did reduce their anxiety, and that they were so surprised that something as simple as grounding themselves with tapping was effective. So even starting like family traditions of tapping, and this can be done with music. I mean, I've seen it with drum therapy. Where families will get together in some societies to do their drums, and they can tap along with the beats. So anyhow, that's just something that we brought up in these podcasts that we will continue to bring up in the podcast. We give different techniques and tools. You can go back and actually listen to some of our earlier podcasts where we talk about mindfulness and guided imagery. And that's something else that is very universal, is guided imagery to kind of, help with whatever is going on in your body or mind. And we also want to say that we're very holistic. We truly believe this is mind, body, soul. Go see a doctor. If you're not feeling well, please go see a doctor. Make sure your health is good, and that you give yourself that self-care and permission to take care of yourself.
Yeah, because there's a lot of there's just so many connections, right? When we think of physical health and mental health, and I work with a lot of different, many individuals that have chronic illness and that are dealing with a lot of pain all the time. And that it causes stress, it causes anxiety, it causes our body to shoot out the adrenaline and the cortisol and the stress hormones and all of that gross, the gross stuff that our body naturally does to keep us safe. Like we are built for survival, and this is what we're doing every day. So if you're in pain, hell yeah, you're going to be anxious and you're going to be depressed. You cannot tell me the days that you are feeling extra sad, it doesn't directly correlate to how you feel physically. As a chronic migraine person myself, some days I do want to just like turn off all the lights and forget the world exists and go to sleep all day and wake up the next day and hopefully start again, because it really hurts. Like everything hurts. Life hurts, the moment hurts to even breathe. Sometimes you really do find that correlation between how you feel physically as opposed to how you feel mentally. And if you can't understand that, and that's okay, you're not supposed to know everything, but talk to someone, talk to your doctors, get some help, like keep fighting for your health, and then come find one of us, the therapists out here. Or let us know, yeah. Like send us messages, like whatever we can do to provide this conversation so that you know what to ask if you need any help. We could definitely be those supportive people for you. I just naturally we are in this field for a reason, and I think we naturally like to nurture and take care and provide any and every information we can find. If we don't know it, we'll find it. One way or another, we'll find it.
She is a licensed therapist, and
yes.
Although I have a mental health background, what I do is more psychoeducation on the digital side. So I'm usually behind the camera working on different training programs that I build on resilience and self-care and self-compassion and mental health matters.
So we're here. I mean, we're never so far away that we can't provide that help. And every time we find something on social media, we'll repost it, we'll talk about it. We just want to provide this information for any and everyone that want to know. I think post-COVID, we are in a whole new world. A lot of the socially anxious people were thriving during COVID. And now that we are in a whole new version of normal for ourselves, because it's not gone, it's very much around still. It's just we're trying to find what the new normal is. And if you want somebody to talk to, there's always someone available. If you don't know how to find them, we have, last month was the Latinx, Latina Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. We sent some resources for those people within that community, but there's always Psychology Today. There's always Google therapist near me and you will find someone. I know it's super scary as a therapist. My job is the easiest, but being on the other side of that conversation as a client as well, I really do know how hard it is. And if you need to vet us out. Like I always tell my people, if I'm not your cup of tea, girl, keep pushing. Yeah. Like
ask us questions. Yes. See if we fit. Or if we have some, I hate the word connection. I mean, everybody uses hot term connection, but literally see if like you feel okay talking to us, because no matter what, it should always feel safe.
Yes. My God, yes.
With whoever you speak to. And if you don't feel safe talking, again, the world of YouTube, it's global, is great. Sometimes you can't find therapists in different cultures and different places in the world. So, finding somebody that is meaningful to you, that you can sit down and talk with, that you trust and you feel safe with, is very important. Or just kind of like I said, you can seek us out. I mean, there are wonderful people throughout the world. I've worked with many of them in different cultures that are there for you if you reach out. So I know that in some subcultures, reaching out and going to therapy is an absolute no-no, because that means it's tracked. And nobody
Right.
wants that. But hey, there's resources out there. If you want resources and can't find them in whatever culture you reside in, we can help with that. So
yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
We're just here for the conversations and for any of the information that we could possibly provide for anyone who wants to be anonymous. Please
Yep.
be anonymous and still ask the question. Validation. I literally speak on validation every day I go to work. Every day my person comes in and they're not sure how to approach me. I'm like, dude, like, this is your space. I'm only here to give you the information that you need to figure out what's best. You have to find when you're ready, what that looks like. It's just really up to you. We could definitely sit here and I could tell you go see someone, but if you ain't ready, don't do it. Don't come and find one of us therapists and say I'm ready, and then you don't come back after 1 or 2 sessions, because we're going to talk about some real shit. We're talking about some real things that are very personal. And if you're not ready, please by all means don't search for one, because you're going to be disappointed. Because if you get one that actually is willing to give you the safe space but also push you, you're going to hate it, because it's happened to me. I do push because I don't understand coming and knowing that something needs to be spoken on and you don't want to, and that's fine. Don't do it. And again, you're not wrong for that. Not at all. Culturally speaking, I come from a background where we don't talk about shit, because if we do, we're crazy. That's it. You're either going to be crazy, locked up in a sane asylum, because this is where we're still in the 1800s or whatever the hell we are. But that's where we're not there anymore. Even in the last 5 years, things have changed so dramatically since I've been in this field. And I can promise you, if you find someone that has that mentality and almost threatens you, you're allowed to walk away. Ain't nobody trying to do nothing to hurt you. And if you feel that way, that's probably not the best person to be talking to, because you need validation, you need approval, and that you're not crazy. You're not crazy. We all have our own things, and what we go through, it definitely marks who we are now. And sometimes you got to talk about it so that you know that you're not crazy and that things happen.
Nobody gets out of this life with nothing happening to them.
You're walking around some multiple wounds.
And, you see a white woman here in America, and you already know that I have a lot of privilege. I completely get that I have a lot of privilege, but that don't mean that I haven't been through shit.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't assume, because
that's exactly right. So, but anyway, it's really important to kind of don't box yourself in.
Even if it is to be anonymous and ask us questions, dude, we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of a sailor mouth, but just we're here. We're here. I might drop some bombs, but I care. Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit. I just get very passionate. This is literally my life's work, and I just want people to understand that you are allowed to have safe spaces. And sometimes it is sad, as a human that I am, I do this job because I truly love it. But it is sad to know that sometimes I am the only person, or therapy is the only place. That therapist's office is the only place you're going to get validation. And when you don't have it outside of an office, that's sad. And that hurts. And that makes us feel so much less worthy of things. And this is where all of this pain comes from. You're not crazy. Your feelings are hurt, and that's okay. And it sucks. And sometimes you got to sit in it until you're ready to deal with it. It's just something that you just have to figure out for yourself. But this is why we're doing it. We care from all aspects holistically behind the scenes, because what she do, I can't do. That's all her. But I can't do. I mean, only because of licensure. But okay, you can't do it. But this is just, just to get us out there, because we are very interested in having these conversations literally interactively. We want to talk to people. We want to find how we can fit just overall in the world of mental health and culture.
That's right. So come find us. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're there. MindScape 717.
YouTube, whatever you need. Yeah, we're here.
Exactly. You can find us. It's cool. But anyhow, MindScape717 at gmail.com. Leslie and Tanya. and let us know what you think. Thank you. Okay.